What's up, everybody? Circus here, coming at you with a state of the game video. Kind of like we're gonna go back and revisit a topic that we did before. Before we asked, is the game too expensive? So I want to follow up on that now. So to get started, I'm not saying it is too expensive, and I'm not saying it's cheap or either way. I'm just saying let's take a look at it and see where we're at. Now, in the last video, Kamel, which was a couple months ago, at the time, the top decks were stuff like the Water deck and Thunder Dragon. So if you wanted to play like a top tier deck, you had to go into like, people would say, I don't know exactly. It's like it's like 5 different boxes to build the Water deck or 5 different boxes to build Thunder Dragon. So realistically, like you'd be spending like, whatever, 70,000 gems or whatever it is. I don't know.
Something absurd.
Right. Tons of gems, or you'd have to spend tons of money on the game. And I think a lot of people were turned off because of that.
Yeah, I have to agree. That time was definitely there were fewer what you would call viable decks, and there were more of what everyone would call just rogue decks. Or everything was seen as a step below the top decks. But now I would not say that is the case. Things have changed in the past months, and different kinds of decks are top tier now. Considerably, less expensive decks are top tier, and what people consider to be a good deck, has changed, and a lot of those cheaper decks are now up there. So it's very interesting how things have changed.
Now, my question is, now there's a lot of people that are completely free to play. They don't want to spend any money on the game. I feel like there's maybe options for both. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's talk about this a little bit, because there are like the structure deck options, but then there are options where you don't necessarily have to buy a structure deck, but you'd still have to go into maybe like multiple boxes. I'm thinking Resonators, they're a very strong deck right now. You don't need a structure deck for it, and you can, if you're dedicated, you can build it free to play,
Yeah.
And then oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and then there's those decks where, like you said, you can go into a couple main boxes and build them out, or maybe an accompanying structure deck with some characters. And a lot more of those decks, we're talking about, your Onomats, your Harpies, your even your Gaia, well, that's structure deck, but have become a lot better recently.
Yeah.
And those decks, go ahead.
I was going to say, like Harpies you mentioned, a lot of people say, oh, they're not top tier anymore. But if you're just playing ladder, they're still a really good deck, and that's just a mini box. That's one mini box, and I know there's text from other boxes and stuff, but like the core of the deck's all in one box, and then it's up to you how you want to fill it out. So if you want to do a bunch of free-to-play options, you can do that.
Right, yeah. And I would say that is more of what people should look at when they ask the question of, is the game expensive? Because a couple years ago, me and you were playing the game. If you ask someone, is Duel Links expensive? The answer would be undoubtedly, oh my God, yes, Duel Links is expensive. Every new deck that comes out, I got to go through it 3 times, spend $300, do everything. Now I don't even want to say that is the case anymore. I feel like if I play Duel Links every day for a month, when the new box comes out at the beginning of the next month, I should be able to, almost complete with gems. Maybe I'll need some money to grease Konami's elbows to get me the rest of it. But I truly feel like I would be spending less money than I would have, otherwise.
I think with the way the boxes are coming out now, maybe I'm wrong here, but it used to be like do you remember the time when they released like every box had the next tier 1 deck, and you almost felt like you had to keep up with it, because it was something like it went from like heroes into spell books into like Citadel Whale into for hire, and it was hard to keep up with. But now it feels like people complain like, oh, this box is garbage, but I feel like unless you're really into something, you can skip boxes and not have to have every box and every card and still enjoy the game.
And it's funny because as people who've been in the competitive scene and who have been content creators, we see we see a box where it's like, oh, it's garbage, and we're like, oh, this box is garbage. There's nothing meta. Skip it. It's terrible. But those boxes, when those come out, like that contributes to the game being less expensive. You don't have to buy the new tier 1 deck every month. You don't have to throw away your old deck because the new one is here, because just a whole lot of nonsense is removed because of the of there being mediocre boxes, even though I would like there to not be mediocre boxes.
So they're giving us a break, right? They're like, oh, you got to go
Yeah.
hard on this one, then you got like 2 months off, and then we'll release another one that you have to go hard on, right?
Yeah, that's kind of, again, them changing their release philosophy to
Mm-hmm.
really put their power behind marketing big character box releases, structure deck box character releases, stuff like that. The things where they can tie multiple things in the game towards to make money.
I think Witchcrafters was a good example, and was there
Yes.
another one? I think Harpies was another good example. And now Gimmick Puppets, I know we don't know if they're a good deck or not yet, but like there's an event, there's exclusive cards, and then
Or TG,
TG, yeah,
as well.
TGs.
TG
And
very recent. Mhm.
Gimmick Puppets might suck, but the whole deck is pretty much in one box. So it's a main box, but I mean, if you just want to go into that one box, you can get everything, some event cards, and just throw in whatever back row you have, and I'm sure you're good to go.
Yeah, I do believe that is what they're moving towards. And with that, I have to say the game is less expensive.
I know people are probably like, "Come on!" They're typing already, but it feels like there's options for both. Now you're not going to be able to play everything if you're doing it free to play, but I feel like there's good options for both camps, right? If you're free to play, or if you're willing to spend money.
Right, because realistically, you have to look. You're free to play. Some decks is going to be easy for you to build. Some decks you're going to have to, you're going to have to grind it out. You're going to have to say, all right, I really want to play this deck, but I am just going to have to put in the work because, this deck Thunder Dragons or, Photons is, pretty expensive. If I want to play the optimal deck, I'm going to have to do that. And something that I might add, the new way that, you conduct your free-to-play accounts, it really makes the game even less expensive for you. If you want to talk gem wise, it makes it less expensive for you gem wise because if you're doing multiple accounts, you're getting a reset on all of those resources.
The tickets, the dream tickets.
You get to play as many decks as you can.
Yeah.
And before that was not such an option, right? We were getting one dream ticket a year. There were not multiple promotional events within the year where we get those resources, especially not those spare tickets, and there were not as many good event options. And back then, of course, we were recommended 3 Canadian because there wasn't these good free to play decks that you could build with just a mini box or just a main box endeavor. So there's definitely a lot more options for you now, and making multiple accounts helps you take advantage of that.
Yeah. Great promo. Thank you.
Always got to push that because it really changes the game.
It makes it so much more fun. Definitely. Yeah. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. I honestly, like, the last time we did this video, I think we were complaining the game's too expensive because if you want to build these decks, you're probably going to have to spend a little money because otherwise you're going to spend so much time doing it. Having the decks scattered across like five different boxes was crazy. And yes, there's still decks that do that. But if you're fresh to the game or you just want to play something hot, you really don't have to do that as much anymore. And I think, like we were saying, there's very free options or very, very low cost options. And then even like the top decks like Onomats that we were just talking about in the power rankings, they're not that expensive of a deck either. I mean, you do have to buy into the structure deck, but it's not like a $300 deck like we used to talk about. Remember Crystron's?
Right.
Remember playing that? How much was that deck? That was like a $400 deck, and I'm not even exaggerating. That was like a $300 to $400 deck. Easy.
That was pretty bad. And, funny enough, there's like literally no decks like that right now that are meta.
Right.
I do not believe so.
So it might be unpopular. People are probably going to dislike this video with the thumbs down button, but I say it's less expensive, and I think the game's in a good spot. Are the decks maybe not what everybody wants? They might be complaining that they're linear.
Maybe
and things
not what
like
they
that.
expected.
Right. But I think in general, it's healthy for the players right now. Things will change if you're not happy with the decks, but I think everybody can play, and that's what I like.
Yeah, that's what's most important, man.
All right. So let us know.
Whatever gets the most duelists in Duel World, brother.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. We're going to get out of here, but you should get in our Discord because it's free. The tournaments are free, and the new player help is free. I'm Circus. That's Kamel.
Peace out, guys.
And we will see you next time.